from the WDWL TV Multiplex, live from Grumpy's studio, we bring you the pride of the station. Oh, the two Grumpies, starring the grumpy old man. Be nice. Look at the camera. There you go. Greetings, friends. And how are we doing tonight? Well, I had the first of my what's to come many torture tests from my new primary care doctor. Yes, today I had my CT scan for my chest. Okay? Well, everything was going just fine. I come in, I took my coat off, took my hat off, took my glasses off. I was told, lay down on the table, which I'm used to doing. I lay down on the table. He ran me in and out of the machine a couple of times and went, scoot down a little bit. I said, okay, so I scooted down. Then he told me, put your arms up over your head. So I put my arms up over my head. He run me in and out of the machine a couple of times and he went, okay, we're going to start the test. All right. So we go in the first time and basically it's take a deep breath and hold it. Then he runs you into the machine, runs you back out of the machine, and tells you, okay, breathe normal. Okay. The second time, as he's getting ready to run me into the machine, all right, he tells me, take a deep breath and hold it. And just as we got to it, the phone rang. So I take a deep breath. I hold it. He runs me into the machine. He runs back out of the machine. And I'm about at the 60-second mark of holding my breath. I'm turning blue. I'm getting ready to pass out. And he goes, oh, please breathe. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, he was on the phone and he forgot to tell me to breathe. I almost fucking passed out. Holy shit. I don't know how those divers can do it, where they'll go down and they're down like 2 minutes holding their goddamn breath. Jesus, I give them a lot of credit. So I asked him, I says, are we okay? He goes, yeah, everything's fine. You can get off the table now. So I got up, put my glasses on, put my coat back on, put my hat on. Have a nice day. So tomorrow I will get the results. I don't expect them to really find anything, but okay, I'll do whatever they say. Holy shit. Vulture, I'm going to kick your ass. I give you one job to make sure I'm in grumpy old man mode, and you screw up. There. Now I'm the grumpy old man. So, I commenced today to watching the Eaglettes again. Oh, I love watching Dasher and Dancer. Today, I'm watching, and here comes Mom. And holy shit, she's got a trout about, it had to be at least a foot long, if not longer. Oh, what a beautiful fish. So, here's Dasher and Dancer, side by side. Mom drops it at their feet. And they look at it. And they look at it. And they look at Mom. They look at the fish. Now, both of them have been seen picking scraps up off the bottom of the nest when mom tears apart a bird or a fish or whatever. They are quite capable of tearing into that fish. No, two spoiled little brats. They stood there and they looked at it. And they looked at it. They looked at mom. They looked at the fish. Well, mom commenced to ignoring the two little guys, leaving the fish sitting right there. You think they would help themselves? No. They stood there looking at the fish. Well, next thing I know, mom takes off. I was like, uh-oh, let's see what happens. Did they eat the fish? No. Mom was gone for about 20 minutes. I think she was testing them. Would they eat the fish? No. Mom returns, and I guess mom finally got pissed off, and she started ripping the fish apart and feeding them. So, she gets about halfway through the fish, and then she takes off again. Do you think these two little spoiled eaglets are going to eat that fish? No. They looked at it. Until mom came back. And then finally mom finished off the fish. Actually, mom finished off the fish. She ate the rest of it. I guess she figured, well, if you guys aren't going to help yourself, I'll just finish eating it for you. What a beautiful fish, though. I think it was it looked like a rainbow trout, but it was huge because that nest is about 4 foot in diameter, and that fish from the edge of the nest to the tail was almost halfway. So that was a pretty good-sized fish. But you think these two little eaglets were going to feed themselves? No. Yeah, it was hilarious. She dropped it right at their feet, and they looked at it like, oh, mom brought us fish. Do you think that they would help themselves? No. Now, here's the thing. While mom was kind of ripping the fish apart, there were a bunch of fish scraps in the nest. They didn't hesitate to pluck them fish scraps out of the nest, but rip the fish apart and feed themselves? No. They waited until mom did it. They're at the age right now, I think they can feed themselves because they will pick up scraps off the floor of the nest of anything, whether it's a bird or fish or whatever the parents bring back. But would they tear into that fish? No. And she dropped it right at their feet. I mean, how closer could you get? They would not help themselves. I had a good laugh. Now, I found another camera. It's, where'd I put my note? Where's my note? It's FOBBV. FOBBV Cam on YouTube. This one is out in Big Bear. And it's also a bald eagle nest. And I'll tell you what, it's just as interesting to watch the eagles out at Big Bear as it is to watch them down in Captiva Island, Florida. It's nice to see that bald eagles are reproducing at a pretty good rate because there's two babies in Florida and there's two babies in this nest out in Big Bear. Tomorrow, I am going to set up another computer and another monitor because I've got one of those racks where you can stack two monitors. And I'm going to put two monitors up over here and I'm going to watch them both at the same time. I just love watching bald eaglets and how basically both sets are spoiled because the one in Big Bear, mom dropped some sort of bird in the nest. I'm not a bird specialist. Whatever the bird was, she dropped it in the nest. And those two out there were the same way. They looked at it like, what do you want me to do with this? Eat it? I'm not eating it. Feed it to me. And they're about the same size. I didn't bother to check what the names of this group is. Now, I don't know, maybe not every Nature Cam group names the birds, but tomorrow I will check. But if you want to watch a different part of the country with bald eagles, FOBBV, as in Victor, CAM. So you have two choices on YouTube to watch bald eaglets. Yes. Oh. And I'll tell you what. I did a price check today on eggs. It is getting ridiculous. As a matter of fact, the one store I went to today, there were no egg prices on the shelves. I was like, and then it pays to read signs, Grumpy. There was a little sign, just a little bit bigger than a damn Post-it note. For prices, ask cashier. So I walked over to the cashier and I says, how much are egg prices? Well, for small eggs, $4.69. For medium eggs, $4.99. For large eggs, $5.25. And for jumbo, $5.99. Jesus Christ. It is getting ridiculous. Although, at the one store I was at yesterday, jumbo eggs were $7.99 a dozen. And the reason that store number 2 didn't have any prices on the edges of the racks, because she said prices change daily on eggs. So I says to her, I says, are there some days where maybe the price will be cheaper? She said, yes, because whatever the prices are at the egg wholesale place. But yeah, they don't publish prices now because the prices are changing daily. You know, it's getting to the point where between regular food prices and now eggs, people can't afford to shop. God, you know, I'll say last year, I would buy a couple dozen eggs. I would boil up a dozen, and either just eat the hard-boiled eggs, crack them out of the shell, or make egg salad. Now, you know, it's to the point where you can barely afford 1 dozen eggs, let alone 2. I used, if I wanted a snack, I would just grab 1 or 2 hard-boiled eggs. That's an expensive snack now. I have to stop and think. Do I want to, make an omelet? Or do I want to make some fried eggs? If I want to make egg salad, how many eggs do I boil? I never had to stop and think about that. And I always used to buy jumbo. Because a lot of times, if a recipe, like if I was going to make a quiche, it would say, 4 eggs. I could get away using 3 because jumbos are a lot bigger. It's almost to the point where you're looking at close to $1 an egg at $8 for a dozen. It's getting absolutely ridiculous. And unfortunately, this damn avian flu, there's no cure. And the reason we're having an egg shortage is in a hen house. If 1 bird comes down with the avian flu, they literally have to do away with every bird in that hen house or egg laying facility. So if you've got say in this building you got 1,000 chickens and 1 or 2 birds comes down with this flu, you just decimate that whole 1,000 chickens. Oh my God. There have been hundreds of thousands of chickens killed in the recent months. And we're getting to the point where, what are we going to do? Wipe out every chicken on earth? At one time, and I brought this up before, Ohio was the largest egg producer in the world. Croton, Ohio. Gargle it. Croton. Croton, Ohio. Not no more. I feel sorry for the chicken farmers. I really do. Having to put down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chickens. There goes your money. Your profit just went out the window. And a lot of them are to the point where they're saying, why should we remain in business? And I can't blame them. Say a farmer had 10,000 chickens and they ended up having to wipe all 10,000 out. Where's he going to get the money to start with fresh stock? And we're talking chicks. You know how long it takes for a chicken to start laying eggs and making you money? And then you have to keep your fingers crossed that this new batch isn't going to catch this bird flu. And part of the problem is they can't get enough federal funds to try to come up with a goddamn cure. God, it's getting sad, people. You can't afford eggs? Who would have thought a dozen eggs could almost hit $10 a dozen or $12 a dozen? It's inching up there, friends. It's inching up there. I remember back when I was a kid, my uncle had a farm out in Columbia Station, and down the road from him was a farmer that sold eggs. Now, he had other crops and other things, but it was kind of his wife and his two daughters' pet project. They had a couple hundred chickens, and they sold eggs. 40 cents a dozen. Jumbo eggs were 50 cents a dozen. I can't believe, we're at $8 a dozen back when I was a teenager. Jumbo eggs, 50 cents a dozen. And then the riot was, she would sell cracked eggs, 20 cents a dozen. And it was hilarious because a lot of people that knew her would come up to get eggs and they'd say, "Hey, can you crack me a dozen?" And she'd be like, "All right, come on, get serious." But yeah, 40 cents a dozen for regular eggs, 50 cents for jumbo. Those were the days. Eggs used to be a cheap meal. I can remember, not that long ago, going into a little mom and pop restaurant, and you could get 2 eggs, any style, hash browns, toast, and coffee for $1.25. I wouldn't want to think what any egg dish is costing in a restaurant today. That same egg dish with 2 eggs, hash browns, toast, and coffee is probably about $8. I wouldn't doubt it. Can't even afford to eat breakfast anymore. As a matter of fact, they used to have just 2 eggs and toast, 75 cents. And of course, coffee. And coffee as much as you wanted to drink. Now, I don't know. I haven't been to a restaurant in ages. I don't know if they still do unlimited coffee. Maybe they've got it to, a limit of 2 cups. Restaurants can't, and people bitch. But how do you expect that restaurant to survive? If they put a limit, 2 cups of coffee, people are like, "Oh, come on, I used to be able to get unlimited coffee." Well, coffee beans aren't cheap. You got to take this all into consideration. The cost of bread, the cost of eggs, the cost of hash browns, cost of coffee, the cost to just turn the damn lights on in the morning in the building, let alone, fire up the stove, and everything else involved in running a restaurant. I don't know how these little mom and pop places are surviving. I really don't. I give them credit for hanging on, though. We're losing so many mom and pop businesses. God, I drive around the neighborhood and it's sad seeing all the empty buildings where there used to be, like, a little mom and pop key shop, or a little mom and pop restaurant, or a mom and pop bakery, gone because they can't afford to stay in business. We used to have a shitload of them around here, people. It was like a bakery of your choice, a little mom and pop restaurant of your choice, shoe repair. Nobody, we used to have at least half a dozen shoe repair shops right in this neighborhood. Now, one. And I don't know how he survives because fucking people don't repair any shoes anymore. One of these days I'm going to have to stop in. Maybe to buy some shoelaces and just to ask him, how are you holding on? What is keeping your business going? Because I'm sure, like back in the day, besides repairing shoes, they would sell shoe polish accessories, shoelaces, anything to do with shoes. I'm going to stop there one day. I really am. I do need a set of shoelaces for one of my pairs of shoes. So I'm not going in on a premise. I'm going to go in, I'm going to buy some laces, and I'm going to say, hey, how are you keeping the lights on? And I want to hear what he's got to say. I know he does I'm going to call them prosthetic shoes, where they have to put a lift. I know there's somebody I know that basically he needs like I think a 2-inch lift on one shoe. Like a giant sole. There can't be that many people unless he's making special shoes. He could be connected with a podiatrist's office where he makes special shoes for people. I don't know. I'm going to ask him. There's got to be something helping him keep the lights on. Because all the other shoe repair places are gone. There used to be one right up the street. I could almost walk to it. Not no more. That one's been gone for years. When he retired, nobody wanted to take the business over. His kids didn't want to be bothered with it. None of his family wanted to be bothered with it. He couldn't sell it. Nobody was interested. That's one thing where it's different. Over in England, there are tons of mom and pop specialty places over there. Metal workers, wood shops, leather workers, you name it. I've seen different little mom and pop shops on YouTube. Like rim refinishers, take your rims in and they repair and refinish your rims. Upholstery shops. Like I say, woodworking shops, metalworking shops. All types of little mom and pop businesses. I don't know how they survive over there, although, it's a different type of society over there. They're not so much throwaway like we are here. Now, in some degrees, yes, they're probably, a bit of a throwaway society, but no way like we are here. If there's still a lot of upholstery shops for furniture and automobiles. There was one I watched on YouTube recently. A guy had a fairly new car. A friend of his dropped a cigarette and burned a hole in his seat. Rather than buying all brand new, from a dealer, the guy took it to this little mom and pop upholstery shop. The guy said, "No problem. I can match that bottom of the seat for you." He said, "Give me a couple of days." Couple of days. He brought his car in. The guy took that bottom section off that was burned, put the new piece on that he sewed himself, made it from hand. And the owner of the car said, "Boy, you were quite reasonable compared to the dealer. There you go." He undercut the dealer. It was a handmade seat bottom versus some factory shit. And it'll probably last twice as long. And I can guarantee the guy that owned that newer car is going to tell his friends, "Hey, you need some interior work done. Go see so-and-so." Same thing. Little mom and pop butcher shops all over the place. There used to be at least 4 mom and pop little butcher shops in this area, all gone. There was a sausage shop that made, oh God, the best sausage on earth. They couldn't hack it. Prices got too high. People would rather buy prepackaged. See, that's the big problem. People today could care less about ethnic food. That's the big problem. Kids growing up didn't really appreciate that homemade ethnic sausage or whatever. They're getting away from it. They'd rather have fucking McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. I know there used to be, oh my God, 2 or 3 within walking distance of me. The business just got so bad that they had to close the doors. Me, I still appreciate the ethnic foods that I grew up on, but they're getting impossible to find. In order, right now, if I wanted to get some authentic, homemade, mom and pop Hungarian sausage, I gotta drive like 15 miles because the shop that used to be within almost walking distance is gone. And the West Side Market, which used to be purely ethnic, all homemade stuff, now it's so commercialized. I went down a couple of years ago. I don't want prepackaged foods. I want what I'm used to. Sausages hanging on a rack, dangling in front of you when you walk up to the counter. Give me 4 or 5 of those and give me a couple of them, I didn't see much of that at the market. And it's sad because these kids don't know what they're missing. I crave the ethnic foods that I grew up on. And to walk into a store and see something that says authentic Hungarian prepackaged, nah, I don't think so. Now there is one. I think it's Lou's. It is the closest I've ever come. And it probably is authentic, but it's, in one of them blister packs. But very rarely do I see young people buying that. The only time I've seen it purchased is old farts like me that desire the old ethnic foods. Now, there's some ethnic foods I could do away with, believe me. Some of the shit my father used to make. Oy, 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 oy. He would get. Now, I love pickled pig's feet. Everybody's like, grumpy, you're sick son of a bitch. No, I love authentic, old world pickled pig's feet. My father used to make this shit. He would take and boil down pig's feet, and the house just reeked. And I don't know how long he boiled them. Then he would take and put them in bowls and pour the broth into the bowls. And then he would take it downstairs in the basement. We had a big counter in the basement. And he'd put the bowls on this counter and cover them up with newspaper. And they would sit for a couple of days. And it would turn to jelly, like Jello. And he would eat this shit. Oh my God. It was disgusting. He would gobble that shit up like it was candy. But it looked disgusting. It smelled disgusting. Yeah, boiled pig's feet. Not pickled. Now, I'll eat pickled pig's feet every day of the week. But I can't find authentic. Can't find them anymore. There used to be a German restaurant right up at the corner. I could go in there and buy them every day of the week. When the new owners took over, they stopped making them. They said, well, they didn't really sell. There were a couple of times when I was in there, they were out of them because they sold out. So you can't say they didn't sell. But yeah, they just quit making them. They said, sorry. And I can't find them anywhere. Matter of fact, if you start to ask people, I say, you carry pickled pig's feet? And they're like, what the fuck you asking about? What? Pickled pig's feet? Are you out of your mind? People don't eat that shit. But see, here's the thing. When you say pickled pig's feet, the first thing that they picture in their mind is a pig standing ankle deep in mud. Well, when they process them, believe me, they're not covered in mud. They're perfectly clean, ready to boil, or do whatever you do with them. Pardon me. I got a vulture in my throat. I mean, you can buy them at the market. I've seen them. I don't know how you make them. If I knew how to make them, I would try it. But there's an art to making authentic, old world ethnic food. And see, the generation after me, what do they call it? The millennials and the current generation, what do they call it? Type C or somewhat, all these goofy names. Those generations got away from the ethnic food. They didn't want to eat it. Oh, I'll have me a McDonald's burger. No, thank you. Well, when, it's supply and demand. If there's no demand, the supply just disappears. I'm not going to drive across town 15 miles one way to get a couple pounds of Hungarian sausage when I used to be able to get it 5 blocks away. It's sad. But there's not enough seniors like me that are demanding that food anymore. They're just like, can't get it. Oh well. I miss it. About 90% of the ethnic food I ate growing up, I can't get anymore. And I miss the hell out of it. Of course, when Grandpa and I would have our Saturday morning heathen feast, now you can buy pepperoni anywhere. I see sticks of pepperoni every market I go to. We would get a stick of pepperoni. We would get smoked whitefish. I can't find it. Nobody carries it anymore because nobody eats it. I've been into several different seafood places, Do you have smoked whitefish? No, we've got whitefish. Well, if it ain't smoked, I don't want it. So we would have our pepperoni, our smoked whitefish, good, he used to get round rye. So we'd have our smoked whitefish, our pepperoni, our round rye. He would always get a nice fresh onion and a chunk of Limburger cheese. And oh my God, I'll tell you what, Limburger cheese, it smells like decomp. But oh, it was delicious. And that's what him and I would eat every Saturday. We'd start with the pepperoni, and then he would slice a chunk of that rye bread, slice a nice big piece of onion, and then a nice slice of Limburger cheese. And we would eat that. Open face, you'd have the bread, the onion, and the Limburger. Oh my God, my grandmother, she'd throw a shit fit every Saturday. I haven't had authentic, old world Limburger cheese in easily 35 years, maybe 40, maybe longer. Oh shit. Over 50 years. Over 50 years. I don't know if cheese shops even carry it because I'm sure there's no demand for it. One of these days, I'm going to call because there is a cheese shop at the West Side Market. I'm going to call them and ask them if they carry Limburger cheese. And if they say yes, I'll make a trip down there and I will pick up the rye bread, the onion, and the Limburger. And then I will sit here on camera and eat it and see if I remember how good it was. Although, part of the problem is as you age, your taste buds change. And it cycles through life. Because when I was younger, true story, I loved mustard. Any type. And then, all of a sudden, I grew this distaste for it. And I didn't eat mustard for years. And then one day, just for the hell of it, I was like, I'm going to buy a little jar. So I bought a little jar. And I enjoyed it. Now in my refrigerator, I probably have at least 7 different styles of mustard. I love it again. But there was a time I wouldn't eat it. So there's a cycle of your taste buds changing. It's a proven fact. Look at Gargle It. Don't trust Grumpy. Gargle it. So I don't know if my taste buds will accept Limburger cheese again. Now, you can buy it. It's, I think, called Moose brand. It's got a moose on the label. It comes in a jar. And it's like white. Now, Limburger cheese is like yellowish. This stuff is white in a jar. That is not authentic Limburger cheese. I've had it. Believe me. It don't come anywhere close to a nice slice of stinky yellow Limburger right from Germany or wherever they make it. The shit in the jar that they're calling Limburger cheese ain't Limburger cheese. I bought a jar a couple years back. I ate it because I don't waste food. But believe me, it wasn't what I remember. Moose brand. It's got a moose. I don't know what the moose has to do with Limburger cheese. Yeah, Moose brand. You can buy it in your bigger supermarkets. They still carry it. I've seen it. I won't buy it because it don't taste like Limburger to me. I know our gigantic Eaglette carries it. And they usually keep it in the dairy case. But it ain't like what I grew up with. First of all, it don't stink. This stuff my grandfather would bring home. Oh my God. My grandmother in the summer would open every goddamn window, open the door, turn on all the fans, and she would do nothing but stand and bitch at us. She'd be like, Jesus Christ, you gotta stink up the whole goddamn neighborhood? Yes. And then, this was our every Saturday feast. And she called it our heathen feast because we laid out butcher paper on the table. We didn't use plates. She called us heathens. And she seemed to have it in her head that one of the Saturdays we were going to come home with something different. Now, every Saturday, same thing. She'd be like, Limburger cheese again? Well, yeah. What'd you expect? Swiss? American? Colby? No. You gotta have rye bread, onion, and Limburger. She would just, oh. And then she'd tell my grandfather, don't you dare put that leftovers in the refrigerator. Oh. I don't know where he put the leftovers. She wouldn't let him put it in the fridge. I don't know. Have no idea where he put it because we didn't eat it all. Now, he'd finish it during the week, so I don't know where he put it. Probably had some stash somewhere where you. Oh, did it smell? Oh, yeah. It smelled like something dead. Matter of fact, the girl at the market, she'd wrap it up in about 12 layers of butcher paper. But, oh, was it delicious. Oh, my God. But we had to start with the pepperoni. He'd slice the pepperoni. Then we'd have a chunk of whitefish. And, oh, that smoked whitefish would melt in your mouth. And then the Limburger cheese sandwich. Every Saturday. And I'll tell you what. I missed it. Because, after he passed, it just wasn't the same. I mean, the cheese didn't change, the bread didn't change, it was like the ambiance of him and I, because that was what we did every Saturday. And it just didn't feel right anymore. But every now and then, I'm like, oh, I want to see if I still like Limburger. So I'm going to call. The market, they're Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so tomorrow is out. Wednesday, I'm going to call the cheese shop at the West Side Market, and I'm going to ask them if they carry authentic, old world Limburger. And if they do, Grumpy will be making a trip to the West Side Market and getting the rye bread. As a matter of fact, while I'm calling the cheese shop, I'm going to call the fish department and see if they have smoked whitefish. And if they do, oh God, I can replicate my Saturday morning. Because pepperoni you can get anywhere. That's no problem. If I can get smoked whitefish and Limburger, I can get the rye bread, because they do still have a bread shop down there. Get me a fresh onion, and then I will eat it on screen, right here in the studio. I'll stink this building up. They'll think something died somewhere. Oh. Too bad they don't have smell-o-vision. So if I was sitting here with the Limburger, I could send it through the microphone into your computer or whatever you're watching me on. You could get the ambiance along with me. That would be unique. I would lose every subscriber I've got. And if you weren't listening yesterday, whoever is number 55, I thank you. You're getting me to my goal of 100. Slowly, one subscriber at a time. So whoever you are, I thank you. And 54 also. I was at 53 forever. And then I got 54. And then when I checked the other day, voila, I'm at 55. I'm loving it. The word is catching on. I just wish it would catch on a little faster. But I will take one subscriber at a time. I'm not greedy. I would like a few more, but one at a time is fine with me, as long as I go up, not backwards. So, we're through with doctors until the 13th. Then the 13th, I go see the podiatrist. That's who I got. Yeah, the podiatrist. I know what he's going to want to do. See, years ago, I broke the big toe on my right foot. Now, there ain't much they can do. You know, they wrapped it in a popsicle stick. Well, it was a tongue depressor, but... And it healed. Well, then, about 2 years later, I broke the same toe again, doing the same statement. Grumpy was too cheap to turn a fucking light on at night. And I'm walking through the house, and I ram my big toe into the molding. You would think, after going through the pain of breaking it once, I would learn. No. I did the same stupid-ass thing again. I rammed my goddamn toe into the corner of the goddamn wall, and I broke it again. Well, the second time, I got fed up having to wrap a goddamn tongue depressor on every day, and it healed kind of crooked. Now it don't fucking bother me. Oh, it bothered my new primary care doctor. Oh, yeah. He looked at that toe and he went, I think I got to send you to a podiatrist. I was like, why? You need that toe looked at. Why? It's been like that for years. I told him I broke that toe twice. Well, I found out, speaking to a few friends, what this podiatrist probably wants to do. He's going to want to break it again. I don't think so. No way. No. We ain't breaking it a third time. No. It don't bother me. I'm fucking 73 years old. Give me a fucking break. And not in my toe. Yeah. He's going to want to straighten it. You know, the way I look at it, it ain't broke. Don't fix it. If it was bothering me, yes. It don't bother me. It's like an old friend by now. Yeah, I know, it was my fault. Oh, a smoke ring. Holy shit, I haven't blown a smoke ring in years. Man, I'm glad I got that on camera. Grumpy blew a smoke ring. Yeah, the first time, I religiously, every morning, took the wrapping off, put a new tongue depressor, wrapped it up. Well, the second time I was like, oh, bullshit. So unfortunately, it didn't heal straight. It's crooked. So what? I'm not going to try out as a foot model for any TV commercial. So it don't have to be straight. And if this podiatrist suggests re-breaking it, I'm going to get up and leave the office. Because we ain't playing that game. No. You know, if I was 40 again, I'd think about it. Not at 73. You ain't breaking my toe. And that's what I hear from friends that he'll probably want to do. If it bothered me, yes. It don't bother me. Now, yeah, breaking in a new pair of shoes until the toe leaves a depression in the insole, yeah, it bothers me a little bit. It don't bother me that much. Not enough to re-break it. I don't think so. Although, now, I don't walk through the house barefoot. I got some of them, oh my God, what are they called? Mini Tonka. Yeah, the slippers are come from Mini Tonka. Oh my God, are they comfy? I could wear them all day. They got a nice fluffy fur lining. They're a real nice, expensive leather. Yeah, Mini Tonka. Any of you people that really want comfy slippers, look into those. Well, Grumpy wears slippers now. See, I used to do it barefoot, and that's why I crushed the toe twice. But now I put on my Mini Tonka slippers. Oh, best slippers I ever bought. And they've got not a hard sole, but they're not like a moccasin. Now, I also have moccasins that have lamb's wool lining. Those are comfy. But the Mini Tonkas have a sole on them so that you could walk outside. No, they're not sponsoring me. I'm just telling you, they're a wonderful slipper, Mini Tonka. Matter of fact, I came across them by accident. I was reading. I was like, wow, these sound comfy. And the place I ordered them, you got a free 10-day trial. If you didn't like them, no questions asked, you could ship them back. Well, I loved them. Matter of fact, if they ever wear out, I'm going to buy another pair. Mini Tonka. Sounds like some Indian village. Maybe Alaskan. I can't remember where they came from. It don't make no difference. They're nice and comfy. No plush inside. Oh my God. Like I say, I could sleep in them. They're so comfy. So if you want some comfy slippers, people, Mini Tonka. There's my commercial. Unfortunately, no revenue. They don't sponsor me. I don't think they're planning on sponsoring somebody with 55 subscribers, but they got a free plug tonight from Grumpy. And with that, I think it's time to call it a wrap and play our outro. Let me get our outro music and see if I can catch it before the damn tablet plays the intro, which it likes to do. Music? No! Caught it. Here we go. Outro music. There we go. Our favorite outro music. Or my favorite outro music. Well, we know where. Right here. WDWL TV. Grumpy Studio. somewhere around 7 p.m. I'm getting better, folks. You like my license plate? Look at that. Unfortunately, it's got that ugly mug on it there, that damn vulture. But it looks cool. One of these days I'm going to put on the car and see if I can get away with driving around with it without getting stopped. And with that, friends, I bid you a wonderful rest of your evening, and we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, have a nice night. See ya.